Why hello again YouTube, WILDMAN here, back in the indoor gym because I'm not going to be able to be working out in this indoor gym pretty soon because I'm going to be switching shifts. So for today's menu, I'm going to be doing the SSB wide hands box squat down to that bench, standing up like this. And I actually weighed this bar appropriately and it's actually 70 pounds. So I've been wrong with my math in the past. And as I'm going up in weight, I'm going to be doing some WILDMAN flags, similar to dragon flags, but with a little bit more pop. I'm only going to be doing 3 repetitions just to warm up my core. And then some assault bike, making sure I'm getting my conditioning in, but also it's really good for my knee. And I've been having a lot of knee issues and hip issues, which is kind of the reason why I put this ensemble to begin with in the first place. In my previous videos recently that I've had the SSB where I'm doing, bench pressing or squatting with it, I've actually been wrong. I thought it was 60 pounds because when I used to put it on my back, I'm like, it feels like my SSB that I have at home, which is 60 pounds. But I actually looked up this company to see how much this weighed. And it actually weighs like 68.5 pounds. So it's pretty close to 70 pounds. And there's a scale in that gym right there to the right. And I actually put it on there and it was fluctuating around 68 pounds. So I'm just going to call it 70 pounds to make it even. So I decided to do this box squat today because I've been having a lot of hip issues in my left hip specifically and in my left knee. Now in my left knee, I have 0 cartilage in that knee. From all my sports and running days when I was younger. It has no more cartilage left on the kneecap. So the patella likes to slide. So later I'm going to be putting a patella protector on to make sure that it doesn't do that. And my left hip pain, I suspect, which I kind of confirmed later in this video, is I think my left hip is out of its socket, like slightly, and it needs to get popped back in. And I've tried everything and it's just not working. So I kind of looked up what to do and it's highly recommended to do box squats. Box squats is a more hip dominant thing, so it makes your hips have to work in unison, which would have to make equal tension on your hip, which would most likely pop it back into place. It's also a little bit easier on the knee, but what it does is it's really, for a box squat specifically, if you're using like a barbell, you're actually activating your quads a whole lot more as well, so it's more quad dominant. And then I'm using the SSB because if you put the handles on the ends of that padding at the end, it's actually a lot easier to do a box squat on because you can lift it up because your hands are out in front of you. So you can lift the bar up as you are going up. Makes it a whole lot easier to come up the box. So I'm actually putting my hands out wide. Now, when you put your hands out wide, it's a whole lot harder than a barbell because all that weight wants to shift forward. So you have to make sure that your core and your upper back are in unison and working tightly together. So that way you're able to kind of stand up with it and you're not going to fold over. And if you do fold over because your form breaks, then you have to use your upper back to fight it back into place, which is the whole purpose of this whole thing. So that's why I'm doing it with the SSB. So the box squat, a little bit easier to do, a different kind of movement, activates the quads a little bit more in the hips, easier on the knee. But it also, when you add the SSB and you go with the wide hands and not use the handles, now you're really activating your upper back, which is really good for strongmen. Because when you're lifting a heavy stone or you have something out in front of you that you have to carry for distance, or you get stuck on a deadlift, this is the kind of movement that is going to mimic that same kind of struggle where you have to use your upper back and engage it a whole lot harder. So this is just a great movement to do overall, and I've been doing it a lot more frequently, mainly because of my hip, but also because I feel like it has a lot of carryover into strongman. Great variation to do for back squat as well if you're getting bored with that, and it does carry over to the back squat greatly. Now this is going to be my top set and also a PR because like I said, I did the math wrong on this before, so this is actually a 10-pound PR. 410 pounds down to the box. Now, here's what happens. My hip is still out of place, and I've been feeling it this whole time. I always want to shift to my right hip because I've got no strength in the left. Now, right here, when my form gives out and I have to fight it, and I stood up, my hip popped back into place. Felt like a bolt of lightning at first. I thought I was having a heart attack or got struck by lightning or something, but it ended up being my hip popping back into place, and I suddenly had a whole lot more power that I could use that hip now again because it's been, not to my exposal in the past. Now, once I was done with that, I just dropped 100 pounds off the bar, so it's 310 pounds now. And now I'm going to do a max effort, so max reps with the SSB bar wide hands, and I'm going to do it to that box. And the idea was just to kind of do a burnout. So the idea was when my form starts to break, meaning like when my core collapses and I'm starting to have to use my upper back to fight it back into position because I'm getting fatigued, that's when I would stop. So all of these reps were super clean. I was able to re-engage my core every single time, kind of kept it into a good format until I got to my 9th and 10th rep. that's where my form started to break and I had to use my upper back a whole lot more. But this was a whole lot easier because my hip popped back into place. So that was lovely. And that was a lovely surprise to have, and it worked. And I just kept it in the same format as the strength giant set by doing those WILDMAN flags. Really find that it really does well on squat days because it activates the core minimally. And then also the assault bike, which again was really helping my knee out. So everything was getting a good workout. Now for the assistance giant set, I was going to do all these leg things that I saw is good for hip activation while doing a leg movement from Juggernaut training. So shout out to Juggernaut training. So single leg step ups and then twisting with a reverse lunge, which is just a really light kettlebell. Again, I was doing both legs, so don't think I'm only using one leg. But I really found that Juggernaut training knows what they're doing because these exercises, including the Cossack squats, I don't know who Cossack is, but that was pretty cool. These things engage your legs, but it also makes your hips have to work. And I had these planned in case my hip didn't pop into place to hopefully try to increase some activation there in the hip so that it has equal tension and it would bring my bone back into the socket. So it worked out perfectly. Did 3 rounds of that. Then I moved on to the accessory giant set just to kind of finish off the biceps, the back, and the core and the legs. Started off with doing a 10 rep max to a easy curl bar. Then moved on to hitchhikers, which you know I love to do, to kind of just finish off the back. And this is just a great exercise to not get shoulder impingements. This is mainly why I do it. And then flutter kicks to finish off the abs, also to finish off some hip movement and some legs as well. That was the total workout for the day. Really appreciate everybody stopping by. Glad you got to see my hip pop into place and that my workout was a success. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.